Aloha, everyone. We're going to get started. I am Sherry Menor-McNamara with the Chamber of Commerce Hawaii. First of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us for this business relief webinar with the U.S. Small Business Administration. Now, we all recognize that the focus has been on emergency relief, and there's so much more to do. But we also recognize that at some point we need to focus on the economic recovery side of it as well. So for us at the Chamber of Commerce, so working with Maui Chamber, building that groundwork as we set the stage for economic recovery to help our local businesses on Maui who have been impacted directly and indirectly. So again, thank you for joining us. As a result of this, one of the things we did do is establish a business relief fund so that when it does come to a time where business will need the support and the resources, we'll have some funds deployed. So we are fundraising for that business relief fund, and we're very grateful that the Harold Castle Foundation has committed to $50,000 if local businesses across the islands can match that, because there'll be definitely much needed funds to help those businesses that were impacted on Maui. And if you want more information, you can go to cochawaii.org. So before I get started, I do have some quick housekeeping items. First, if you have any questions that come up during the discussion, please feel free to submit them in the chat box or the Q&A box. The webinar is being recorded, and a link will be emailed to attendees 1 to 2 business days after the session. And we'll also post this webinar to our website at cochawaii.org and on our YouTube channel. We will have future sessions too as it relates to other topics such as employment. So please stay tuned for more details. But anyhow, at this time, I'd like to introduce our featured speaker today, Cynthia Cowell. And she is a Public Information Officer for the SBA's Western District and has been on the ground in Maui for the last couple of weeks, helping businesses and residents impacted by the wildfires. So Cynthia, thanks so much for joining us today. I know you've been extremely busy responding to the different inquiries, but as we know that many businesses here that have been impacted are still recovering from the pandemic as well. So it's definitely a challenging time. So we're looking forward to your information, your resources, and how we can support our local businesses. So at this time, I am going to turn it over to you for just a brief overview, and then we can go into the questions.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here in Hawaii. It's my home. My family's been here for generations. My dad now lives on the Big Island, and a brother on Kauai, and another one on the Big Island. So this is very near to my heart. I remember spending a lot of time on Maui when I was a teenager, and I just love it. So SBA is here to offer low-interest government loans to businesses of all sizes, private nonprofits, homeowners, and renters. I know a lot of businesses have issues because they lost their home as well as their business. So there is help for a homeowner to repair or replace their damaged primary dwelling. For homeowners, we can lend up to $500,000 to repair or replace your damaged primary residence. For homeowners and renters, we can lend up to $100,000 to replace your personal property, including cars. Now, for businesses, we can offer up to $2 million, both for physical damage to a business and economic losses to a business. Since the tourism industry has slowed down quite a bit after the fires, even businesses in Kahului and Hana are affected by the wildfires. And for this, we can offer economic injury disaster loans. I know a lot of businesses have disaster loans from COVID, and you should get a hold of your case manager or your contact at SBA to have your payments deferred for a time or reduced. We also have our hardship waivers, which means that even though you're still accruing interest, you're not having to make payments right now because it is very tough for everyone involved. We are located at all the disaster recovery centers that are opened by the state and FEMA. And there's one at the University of Hawaii Maui College, 310 West Ka'ahumanu Avenue in Kahului. There's also one at the Mayor Hannibal Tavares Community Center upcountry at 91 Pukalani Street in Makawao. We have a business recovery center set up in Kihei at the Hawaii Technology Development Corporation Maui Research Technology Center. We're in Building A, Suite 119, which is the conference room, at 590 Lipoa Parkway, right across from Maui Brewing Company. So you can apply online, and I'll go into that a little bit later. If you run into any sticking points, or if you need just some help to fill out your application, write down your number and you can go into any one of those 3 locations, or you can call our customer service line at 800-659-2955, and we'll walk you through the application step by step if need be. So with that, I will wait for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. I'm going to keep my video off so that focus will be on you. So a few questions. Let's start with, do you need to have experienced physical damage to your business to apply for a loan?
No, we have the economic injury disaster loans for businesses who sustain damage. That could be your hotel was empty, or people aren't coming into your store because everybody's evacuated and no tourists are coming in. These are just working capital loans to keep your business in business until things pick up again.
Can non-business owners apply for an SBA loan?
Yes, they can apply for help with their primary residence if they're a homeowner, or for their personal property. Anything you would take with you when you move out of a house is considered personal property, your furniture, your toothbrushes, everything. And we can lend up to $100,000 for a renter or homeowner who lost physical personal property during the wildfires.
What are the loan rates and application deadlines for business owners?
For business owners, we have the low rate of 4%. And the deadline to apply for physical damage for homeowners, renters, and businesses, just the physical damage, is October 10th of this year. For economic losses, it's kind of harder to figure those out right away. So that deadline isn't until May 10th of next year.
Okay. How long does approval take, and how long does it take to receive the funds if approved?
Well, the approval process can take 2 to 4 weeks. It might take longer because everything is done on a case-by-case basis. If your business structure is a little more complicated, it may take a little longer. But once you have your approval and your loan documents have been signed, we get you your money within 5 days. Usually we'll do an initial $25,000 outlay up front so you can get started on your repairs or placing your personal property. Any loan over $25,000 will require collateral, but if you don't have sufficient equity in your home or business to cover the collateral, that's not going to stop us from making a loan. It's just that we require that you pledge what you can to the loan.
Okay. Is applying for FEMA assistance required to qualify for SBA loans?
Every applicant for SBA should apply with FEMA. And I know FEMA doesn't have business programs, but it's a good place to create a clearinghouse for other programs that might come up. So we do say that you have to register with FEMA. If you're diametrically opposed and morally outraged at FEMA for some reason, you can apply for SBA, but you're cutting yourself off from other assistance that might become available.
Okay. And I mentioned earlier about many of these businesses still paying off their loans as a result of the pandemic. Do you think the federal government will step in with something similar to the PPP loans that were given during COVID?
Oh boy, I really can't say. I know that the SBA disaster loans are not forgivable. In order to make a forgivable loan, we had to get congressional approval for COVID. I don't know if that's going to happen again, and I would really hate for you to hold out for that possibility and miss out on any other assistance that might be available.
Are there grants versus loans for the disaster?
Not through SBA. You might check with the Hawaii Community Foundation or with your Chamber of Commerce to see if there are any loans available for businesses. There are lots of grants available to homeowners and renters.
Okay. I think the federal level might be a little bit more challenging in order to duplicate what they did for the pandemic, PPP. Hopefully we can advocate on state level the need for this emergency funding as we enter the economic recovery phase. And that's where I believe we're going to need as much information. So for the chamber, we will be sending out a survey to collect as much information in regards to what the losses were and how businesses need to be supported. And number one thing that we are hearing is grant funding. So hopefully we can work something out and advocate that on the state level.
Yes, we understand a grant would be preferable to making payments on a loan for up to 30 years. But at this point, you should go ahead and apply for an SBA loan. And then if you do get a grant later on, you can use it to pay off or pay down your SBA loan. We can't duplicate what you receive from any other sources, such as FEMA insurance or a grant. However, we will work with whoever is giving you the money to make sure there is no duplication of benefits.
Okay, so just to reiterate, right now the loans are not forgivable, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I don't see any more audience questions, so we'll go back to some general questions here. You did mention the Business Recovery Center services and locations. If you don't mind repeating where they are, and what about those that can't access those areas? Are there alternatives to?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
Thank you. That's a good question. We're located at the 2 disaster recovery centers in conjunction with FEMA and the state. The first one is at the University of Hawaii Maui College, and it's at 310 West Ka'ahumanu Avenue in Kahului. That's open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And so is the location of the Mayor Hannibal Tavares Community Center. It's in the lower multi-purpose room at 93 Pukalani Street in Makawao. That's upcountry. We also have our Business Recovery Center set up at the Hawaii Technology Development Corporation Maui Research Technology Center. We're in Building A, Suite 119 at 590 Lipoa Parkway in Kihei, right across from Maui Brewing Company. If you can't get into a disaster recovery center or a business recovery center, you can apply online, and that would be at disasterloan.sba.gov/ELA. That stands for Electronic Loan Application, but you just need to remember ELA. You can call our customer service number at 800-659-2955. And we'll walk you through the application if you have your computer. If you would prefer to get a paper application, you can call our number or you can email us at disastercustomerservice@sba.gov. And we will mail you a paper application. Let me just say that a paper application takes longer. And so it's probably best to find a way into the disaster recovery centers or go online if you have access to a computer. And we can walk you through it if you need it.
Great, thank you so much. And I just wanted to put this out here. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation also has a disaster help desk for business. And that's something that if you have questions more broadly or just need help with your business, you can call them at 888-MY-BIZ-HELP. That's 888-MY-BIZ-HELP. And they can guide you, at least on a federal level, as to what resources are out there. I don't see any more questions. Is there anything additional that you wanted to share, Cynthia, that we have not covered?
Well, the fastest way to apply for FEMA is online at disasterassistance.gov. They also have an app that you can get off of Google app or Apple app, and you can download the application that way. Otherwise, I just want to let people know that we really do want to help people as much as we can. So far, we've been active in Hawaii since the 11th of August, and we've already approved almost $10 million in disaster loans. Now, most of those have gone to homeowners, but a lot of those will start coming out to businesses very soon. I think it's a little over $500,000 at this point, but it'll be more as time goes on.
Okay, I know Eliza's putting in the chat box a number of resources. And as we move forward, we are continuing to collect information and different resources available for the impacted small businesses as well. Is there anything that top of mind that they should do immediately? I know you said apply for loan, but is there anything else that they should be doing?
Well, what I usually recommend is first file your insurance claim. A lot of people are hesitant to file an insurance claim because they're worried their insurance rates will go up. But you've got to consider that you've already been paying these for possibly years in advance. This is your money of choice. This is money that will come to you interest-free and you don't have to pay it back. Then register with FEMA. You can go online to disasterassistance.gov. You can call FEMA at 800-621-3362, and you can register that way, or you can come into a disaster recovery center. And there's the one in in Kahului and the one in Makawao. And they have federal staff there for both FEMA and SBA who are eager to help as much as they can. That's one of the reasons that we do this job, is we have a space in our heart that goes out to people who have suffered losses. I've been doing this since Hurricane Katrina, and I can't think of any other job I'd rather do. So go ahead, first file your insurance, register with FEMA, and then don't wait. Go ahead and apply for SBA. If you're approved for an SBA loan, you don't have to accept it. You can say cancel it right now and then come back in a while when you figure out that your insurance maybe isn't going to cover everything you need. And you can ask us to reopen it. We can do that. Once you've applied, if you are declined, in most instances for homeowners and renters, we can refer you back to FEMA for further grant consideration, but you won't be eligible for a lot of grant money if you haven't taken the SBA step. And you always have 6 months from the date that you were declined to go ahead and request reconsideration. Say, this has changed. My situation has changed because of this. And maybe we can go ahead and work a loan in for you.
There's a few questions in the box, and this person said that they're only told they were only able to get 8% because their home was undamaged, and then they were not eligible for the 4%, but the business was destroyed.
They need to ask for reconsideration. 8% is the high rate for businesses, and what we do is we look at your ability to repay. If you are able to fund your own recovery without the government's help, then we will offer you the 8%. But if you come back and say, you know, this is the difference, I no longer have people coming into my shop because of this, and my store is completely destroyed, and we'll look at possibly giving you the 4% rate. As far as your house goes, though, if your house didn't sustain any damage, then you can't get an SBA disaster loan for that.
Thank you. I believe there's another question. Oh, this person said thank you. So in terms of, after they take these steps, can you think of anything else? I know I kind of want to reiterate, repetition is good. So reiterate if there's other resources out there that you think businesses can pursue other than SBA or going through FEMA, making sure they do that? Is there anything else?
Yes, I know a lot of businesses have lost all their financial data. They lost their computer and their hard drives and their paper records. If you have lost your records because of the fires, you can go to one of our partners, the Small Business Development Center, which is right upstairs from the Business Recovery Center. They can help you recreate your financial data. SCORE is also an excellent, excellent place to go. That's Service Corps of Retired Americans or Entrepreneurs. And they can help you recreate your documentation. You may be able to do it based on your tax returns because it's not well known, but your tax return is actually a financial statement. And you may be able to recreate your information based on that. But don't be afraid to ask for help, especially from our partners like the Chamber of Commerce or the Women's Business Development Center. These are all people who are just chomping at the bit to help out the business community in Hawaii, because without the businesses, there's no Hawaii anymore. And so we want to keep the communities in the community. Another thing that's important to know about is we offer mitigation funds to possibly prevent this from happening again. Maybe putting in a sprinkler system in your business to prevent the spread of fires. But you can also use mitigation funds to harden your business against hurricanes or earthquakes. And so it's something that you really should look into. That's up to 20% of your damaged amount, up to the legislated limit of $2 million for businesses or $500,000 for a homeowner. And these are excellent, excellent ways to prevent this from happening again. If you have an existing mortgage, and I know most of us do, we may be able to refinance your mortgage at the low rate of 2.5% for homeowners or 4% for businesses in order to help you become eligible for SBA assistance, to make it more affordable to you and your business. So these are all things you need to talk to SBA about. And if you go into the Disaster Recovery Center or the Business Recovery Center, we can talk to you about that.
Thanks so much, Cynthia. Yeah, as you mentioned, there's so many organizations that want to help, including our Chamber of Commerce, Hawaii, as well as the Maui Chamber, the local chamber, Maui, that's also doing a lot of things. And Small Business Development Center is also a great resource in addition to SBA and SCORE. So you've listed a lot of organizations that can help these businesses rebuild. And in terms of resilience, the U.S. Chamber Foundation has a small business toolkit to help with the resiliency aspects. So something to look into. It's called Resilience in a Box. And they do provide some information about private grants as well as others. So that may be another resource as well. But I don't see any other questions, but I'm sure there's going to be many more webinars such as this to provide that the resources and much needed information to help our business rebuild. So before we close, would you like to say some last remarks?
Yes, it's so important that we build Maui back. We may not be able to get it exactly like it was on August 10th or August 7th. But we all need a little bit of help sometimes. A lot of people don't want to go to the government to get financial help, but these programs are in place, and it's just a way to help you recover from the fires and possibly make it so you don't succumb to another fire. I know we had a scare on Saturday when the resource fair was going on in Lahaina, and everybody had to evacuate. So it's still very fresh in our minds. Please know that the people at the Small Business Administration really do want to help, and don't be afraid to come in and talk to us. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Cynthia. I really appreciate your time during this extremely critical time for many of the local business here. And those on the call, feel free to reach out to us at info@cochawaii.org. If you have any questions or looking for answers, we'll do our best to connect you to the right department or the right contact. But again, like Cynthia mentioned, please don't hold back on asking for help, because we're all here to support in any way we can. So again, Cynthia, thank you again for joining us. We look forward to reconnecting.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.